From the Nigerian Stock Exchange as they prepare to close the market for the day. And the winner of the Nigerian Stock Exchange essay competition, Victoria Olasukomi, is going to be doing that, giving that honors to close trading for today, Wednesday. That process, the Chief Executive Officer of the stock market, Nigerian Stock Exchange, is also there, Oscar Oyema, and top dignitaries as arrowheads of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, all at the gallery there waiting for the winner of the NSE essay competition to close trading for the day. Great, done deal. Trading for Wednesday just ended. And at the closing gong there, like I said earlier, the Victoria Olasukomi, who's the winner of the 2017 Nigerian Stock Exchange essay competition, did the honors of beating the closing gong. Well, we'll link up with TVC News crew standing by at the Stock Exchange for further details, particularly with regards to trading for the day. But first, this is Business Nigeria. Welcome. A warm welcome to you again. Now, the federal government has now devised a clear strategy towards achieving its power sector reforms objective. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this when he met with a delegation from the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation.
The tariffs simply have to be, must be higher. What we're trying to do now is not to increase tariffs for now. And what we're looking at is how we can ensure that we clean up the whole value chain. I'm sure that you're aware of the payment assurance guarantee, which were put in place for over 700 billion, to ensure that gas is paid for and to ensure some liquidity in that whole value chain.
Power Sector Recovery Program is the name for solving all of the problems that we have identified. That's why I told you it will address billing, it will address metering, it will address distribution, it will address governance, it will address liquidity issues and debts, it will address sustainability going forward tomorrow, it will address PPAs, and if we can solve one side of the value chain, which is generation, if we can solve transmission, which is able to wield the power, clearly the partnership and the skill set that solves 2 out of 3 problems must be dependable enough to solve the last mile, and that I say that we will do.
Nigerian car importers want the customs service to give them time to regularize the duty papers. They're speaking against the backdrop of recent raids on car stands by custom officials for non-payment of duty. Lara.
The customs quest to shore up Nigeria's non-oil revenue base informed its decision to clamp down on car stands in the FCT. Abuja-based car dealers say cars with import duties of more than 1.5 billion naira have so far been seized for want of duty papers. They say the actions of the customs officials have been bad for business and now seek a period of grace to pay outstanding dues.
As a responsible organization, we will not in any way support any form of illegality. We are left with no other option than to once again seek the magnanimity of the Controller General of Customs and its management team for another opportunity for all our members to submit all on-duty vehicles in their car park for duty payment. Our plea is based on the reasoning that given the window, the palpable fear will be reduced, Nigerian Customs Service will generate more funds for the government, while our members' investment will be protected.
These businessmen say government should make the automotive policy better work for the Nigerian economy. They also appeal for a reduction in duties paid on cars.
The genesis of this whole crisis is the automotive policy, which has made custom duty and levies to be raised to a level where people felt shortchanged, all in an effort to make imported fairly used vehicles, popularly called tokumbo, unaffordable, in a bid to force people to patronize the so-called assembled Nigerian cars. We therefore call on the executives and the legislators to take a second look at the workability of this policy and bring down the amount of duty on imported vehicles, as this is the only permanent solution to this issue. This will automatically encourage more people to pay their duty and equally make vehicles affordable to Nigerians.
The Nigerian Customs Service earlier this year gave the owners of old cars as well as car dealers time to regularize their papers, an initiative that was later suspended. The Nigerian Customs Service already warned it will begin implementing provisions of its law on possession of smuggled items. The law provides that car dealers who trade in cars with unpaid duties risk a 1-year jail term without an option of fine. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
In other news now, Nigeria's capital inflows more than doubled in the third quarter to $4.2 billion after the economy emerged from a recession. Last year, the central bank had imposed currency controls to prevent the collapse of the naira, which affected foreign capital flows. Capital imports fell to $5.1 billion last year after reaching $9.6 billion in 2015. But in the third quarter of this year, shares recorded the largest amount of capital imported, closely followed by servicing and production sectors. The National Bureau of Statistics says the rise was driven by portfolio and other investments. The Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Muda Yusuf, now joins me via Skype to look more into this kind of positive development. Thank you very much for joining us, DG.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
DG, inflow seems to be on the rising side now. More than doubled according to the figures we have. That's like talking about more than $4 billion US dollars. Is this? Are we right to say that confidence is back to the Nigerian economy?
Yes, it's an indication of improvement in confidence, especially from the perspective of foreign investors, FDI, and more importantly, the portfolio investors. And what I think has made a big difference in all of this is the reform that we have had in the foreign exchange market, particularly the policy changes that brought in the investors and exporters window. This is a reflection of the impact of the increased liberalization of the foreign exchange market, which the I&E window has brought about. So we are seeing the impact of a market-driven rate in and out, and we're also seeing the impact of that on the inflow of investment into the country. So I think this is more of the impact of policy. It's also partly a reflection of the confidence that investors have in the economy. And this confidence is also correlated largely to the developments in the oil market. Because generally, perception of performance and confidence level increases with the performance of the crude oil price. Because being an oil producing country, oil still plays a major role in what happens in the economy. It plays a major role on the disposition of the investors, particularly foreign investors. So this is what is manifesting.
DG, again, would I be right to say that some of the policies introduced then by the Apex Bank for currency control were not really, should we say, we won't say we're not right steps, but maybe they didn't really the implementation, and we didn't really see it, being fruitful early enough?
No, I think in the early days of responding to the challenges of foreign exchange and the challenges of drop in oil price and impact on foreign reserves, the approach by the CBN further complicated matters at that time, because there were capital controls, there was the fixing of exchange rates, there was this administrative allocation of foreign exchange, which created all manner of distortions and all manner of abuses in the system. But with the introduction of the I&E window, we had a better policy space. So this policy space is what is playing out now. And the fact that we are also having better inflows, liquidity has also improved in the foreign exchange markets. I think these are the factors. So there has been a policy review, actually. The policy that we started with is different from the policy that is obtaining now. The market is now playing a fairly bigger role in the activities in the foreign exchange market, particularly on the I&E window.
Now, staying more on this I&E window before I go to my next question. You're an active member of the organized private sector. Manufacturers and some industrialists still come out to say they still face lots of challenges in accessing forex. Please, practically tell us what is really happening with regards to some manufacturers, private players that you operate with.
You know, there are still a multiplicity of exchange rates. We have the parallel market rate. We have the rate in the I&E window. You have the official rate of the CBN, which is 305. You have the Western Union and all of that. You have the international money transfer rate. You have the rate for maybe the pilgrims and the rest. You have a rate for the petroleum importers and so on. So this multiplicity of rates, I think, is part of the challenges that we are still facing. If you go to the window with the lowest exchange rate, like the 305 window, for instance, obviously it's not as if you can just walk in there and pick up the forex and go and import. There's still a bit of forward, and because of the disparity in rate and the premium that currently exists, the market is still not as efficient in allocation as it should be. So to the extent that we still have this administrative allocation and what looks like a partial market environment, we still continue to have that issue. So this problem is coming from the point that we don't still have a fully market-determined or market-driven system. There are issues typically when you have this kind of administrative allocation of foreign exchange. You have issues of transparency, and issues of transparency cause a lot of problems of access, you know, in the allocation of foreign exchange. I think that is where the problem is coming from.
Okay, DG, before I want us to go back to the issue of capital inflows now, but I'm still going to touch the forex issue because it's kind of interwoven. Now, shares show the largest amount of capital inflow, followed by servicing and the production sector. I don't know if you have any comments with regards to this. I think the capital market is actually attracting foreign investors.
Yes, normally when you have situations like this, you have more of portfolio investors, you know, coming to take advantage of the situation. Because it's easier now to bring in money at a market rate. It is cheaper for the portfolio investors to buy up some of these stocks. And that is why a lot of those funds are going into shares. Again, because you have a high interest rate environment, that is also a factor in attracting portfolio investors, because, I mean, where else can you have an interest rate environment that is as high as 15, 16, 17, or 18%, even 20%? I mean, look at the interest rate on our government securities, 15%. I mean, by any standard globally, that is very high. So the interest rate environment and the fact that there is easier access or easier opportunities, less difficulties in bringing in forex, and also in repatriating forex through the market-driven windows, those are the things that have been driving the market. So there's more naturally in the portfolio investment window. But for development purposes, I think what we should be looking at more is foreign direct investment, because that is what will stay with us for the long haul. And that will impact more on jobs and help economic recovery and promote economic inclusion. So because portfolio investors, anytime if there's any change, maybe a slight signal with oil price and all of that, those investments will reverse almost immediately. So they are not very reliable, they are very volatile, and we should be careful the way we celebrate those kind of investments.
Okay, DG, now, before I let you go, I must, when are we really going to address this disparity between the interbank and the black market. Vis-a-vis, this is part of the issues that were actually identified in the last MPC meeting that made them retain all the rates. Because this was part of it. I know other issues are around it too, the crude oil price and global issues and all of that. But one of it, how do we really check this disparity?
Well, it's a policy issue and it's a regulatory issue. And what I see is that there's also a political economy dimension to the management of the foreign exchange market. So unless there's a change in mindset or a change in disposition at the political level and at the regulatory level, we are not likely to see any serious change in this, because this is now a mixture of economics and politics. So that is why we have that. So unless there's a change in mindset and we downplay the political economic components of the management of the forex market, we continue to live with this reality for some time.
So all right, then let me leave it at that. DG, Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Muda Yusuf, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on Business Nigeria today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Well, we'll take a break and we'll link up. When we come back, we'll link up to the stock market where Yusuf Kogu, our reporter, is there. He will be taking us through proceedings of today's trading at the Nigerian capital market. Don't go away. It's your show, Business Nigeria. Glad to have you back. We now move straight to the stock market where TVC News reporter Yusuf Kogu joins me now live from the exchange. Hello, Yusuf. Give us an update of today's proceedings.
Thank you, Tolu. Good and welcome to the Nigerian Stock Exchange today. Well, the stock trading has ended for the day, and the all share index closed in the positive territory by 0.55%, which means that the gains of yesterday was sustained at the close of trading at 2:30 today. But of course, highlights of today's event was the closing of trading by the winners of NSE 2017 SA competition. That is Miss Victoria, who did the closing, did the closing this thing today on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. A brilliant initiative there, you will say, by the Nigerian Stock Exchange, engaging the younger ones. Of course, with me here in the studio to take us through the how the market went today is a stockbroker who traded on the floor. I still have with me here again today, Jamiu Mohammed. Welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here.
The market closed in the positive territory again today. Yesterday again sustained.
Yes, it is expected this time of the period because market is preparing for the year-end runs. Because you see most of fund managers, what they do is that they want their book to be good at the end of the year. So they move their portfolio, the prices of their portfolio towards the end of the year to a region that it will look good for the investor into their fund management.
How long do you expect this trend to continue?
It should continue up to December, early December up to the mid-December. That's what we're expecting.
Okay, let's look at the NSE competition. A brilliant initiative by the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Yes, I want to give kudos to the Nigerian Stock Exchange for the fact that the Nigerian Stock Exchange is now looking for a way now to increase the financial literacy in the environment. Now, it's now being increased now. It's now being enhanced. And if you enhance the financial literacy of the populace, it will surely have much more impact on the people that participate in this our market, and especially that the Nigerian Stock Exchange is doing it among the young ones. And if you can do that, that means the financial literacy is going to be seriously sustained over the period of time, and we're expecting the market to react positively to that.
Let's look at how this will boost the image of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Actually, those people, we always tell people like this that a lot of people doesn't know what happened in Nigerian stock exchange. They don't know a lot about capital market. The literacy level in Lagos, for example, is quite encouraging. But if you go to other places outside Lagos, a lot of people don't know this. But when Nigerian stock exchange introduce this kind of essay, it makes people to know what exactly that is happening in Nigerian stock exchange. If you look at the overall winner, the overall winner has came here 2 years ago. She has come here 2 years ago. 2 years ago, she was about second runner-up, but today she became the first, the winner. And what gave rise to that is that she has not been used, or she has not, the literacy level of hers is not as what it used to be before. So when it comes last 2 years, coming back today, it has increased and it has to be the first, the winner. So you see, as the Nigerian market is going up, the financial literacy level of Nigerian populace is increasing, and that will sound well for Nigerian stock exchange and the capital market in future.
That's a very brilliant one. But look at, talking about financial literacy, a lot of Nigerians don't know this. A tomato seller on the street and so many other people. How do we, educate these people, in a way that they can understand the importance of investing their money on the capital market?
Yes, I think the Nigerian Stock Exchange has come up with different initiatives. In this year alone, they have, organized roadshow, town hall meeting, and so on and so to just make sure that people are aware of the habit of saving, habit of investing. If you have anything that you don't need, you invest them so that in the future you can be able to ensure that your future is safe and you can be able to have access to your fund in future. So that's exactly what Stock Exchange is doing, and they have started the initiative. The initiative is ongoing. That, like, there was a time that now we are arranging, even my firm, we are arranging for another roadshow in Abuja, Sokoto, and other places that are not used to this, that I don't know much about financial literacy, and they don't know much about what's happening in the Nigerian capital market. They don't know much about what's happening in the Nigerian stock exchange. So we are taking this publicity, we are taking this initiative to the rural areas where they can be able to know exactly what is happening in this sector.
Finally, before we go, let's quickly look at the gainers table today. You have another two banks again: Fidelity Bank, FCMB, and you have the a beer company, Champion.
Yes. So, as I said earlier, as I said in our previous version of this program, that Nigerian Stock Exchange, the activities is tilted towards the banking sector, and I've given the reason for that yesterday, and that is what we are having. You will see every time that the volume of trade that happens in Nigerian Stock Exchange, we have about 70% going into banking sector, and the other sector share the rest, and that's the normal what we are saying. Is when we see the other way around, that's why we try to question what could have given us to such a thing. But it is a normal development as far as we are concerned.
Thank you very much, Jamil, for your time on TVC News.
Thank you.
Well, it's back to you in the studio for the rest of the program.
Well, thank you very much there, Yusuf, bringing us up to speed with, I guess, the Jamil Mohammed speaking. Well, the market is still doing well. 0.55% of the all-share index on the positive side, and banking stocks, as usual, are doing fairly well to the financial market. But the NSE's initiative should really be commended. Financial literacy, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, CBN, everybody has harped on the need to get financially included. So it is really important so that we can really get the benefits of this. Well, it's on that note that we wrap up today's show. Business Nigeria. I must thank you very much for watching. On behalf of the entire production crew, I thank you again. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition, God willing. Bye for now.